America's Voice family.
Are you on Getter yet? No?
What are you waiting for?
It's free.
It's uncensored.
And it's where all the biggest voices in conservative media are speaking out.
Download the Getter app right now. It's totally free. It's where I put up exclusively all of my content 24 hours a day. You want to know what Steve Bannon's thinking? Go to Getter.
That's right. You can follow all of your favorites. Steve Bannon, Charlie Kirk, Jack Posobiec.
And so many more.
And the best part?
You can watch Real America's Voice right there on Getter.
Live.
So join the conversation.
Hop on the Getter chat room.
Engage with patriots who are just like you.
Good morning, Getter friends.
We're breaking news, we're delivering the truth,
And we're doing it on Getter
Every single day. So don't wait. Download the Getter app now.
Sign up for free and be part of the movement.
It isn't just an app. It isn't just a social media platform. It's a community.
You know what? Maybe no bells, so you don't hear the ding, ding, ding. I'll do it, ding, ding, ding. Markets are closed. It's because it's 4 o'clock. If we're up, they're closed on Wall Street. Take a look at what we look at. Very kind of quiet day, believe it or not. Dow down a little bit, down 15. I have it down 15. Again, these numbers settle a little bit more. Down 10 now as we speak. NASDAQ up 190. Here's what happened today, folks. First of all, an employment number came out. It was a little negative to the market. They were expecting 100,000 job growth within the private sector. They had 33,000 loss. Market looked like it was going to open a little bit lower. That comes out at 8:30 in the morning. And then Trump announced a tariff deal that they made with Vietnam. So Vietnam will now pay 20% to put their goods into America. At one point, it was going to be 46%. And so a retroactive tariff, Vietnam, both directions will be 20%. And that put a little bit of a bid under the market. NASDAQ, as you can see, 120. So gold holding its own, $3,400. And this is the one I wanted to talk about, $67.20. Oil up $1.75, folks. Now, let me just explain something to you. Yesterday, I was at Alcatraz with Trump, and I asked him about filling this strategic petrol, something I've been talking to you about every single day for the past 3 weeks, 3 weeks. Fill the SPR, Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Very quickly, under Obama, when the price got to $140 a barrel, Obama opened the SPR, gave our emergency oil away, sold it cheap so to bring the price of oil down, which is not what it's meant to be. It's meant to be there as an emergency in the event of catastrophic loss of oil imports coming in. It would give us a cushion until we fix things. So Obama did it once and brought it down. Trump got into office and filled it back up. Biden took over in 2020, drained it twice, almost to the bottom. So 750 barrels is the maximum it holds. He drained it, Biden drained it twice, around to 300 million barrels, right? So more than halfway. I asked Trump yesterday if he had any plans on filling it. He said, we are absolutely, it's a great idea. He said, it's something we should be doing. And then I went one step further and said, maybe we should fill it to 1 billion barrels, not just 750 million. Fill it to 1 billion at the lower price. And at the time, it was $64 a barrel. And look at where we are now. We're jumped up to $67. And my imploring Trump over the last 2 weeks is because I know how oil goes. You have one supply disruption in the Middle East, or OPEC says one stupid thing, and next thing you know, you're looking at $70, $75, $80 barrels of oil. To do it now, 67 even right now is cheap comparatively. Under the entire Obama presidency, oil was $79 a barrel for the 4 years on average. Trump brought it down to $53. Under the entire Biden presidency, it was $79.50 a barrel. So almost the exact same number for both of those Democrats. Now's the opportunity to fill this SPR, folks. Give us energy security going forward. I think Trump heard it. We'll play it. Trish, I won't call you out for that comment. All right, let's just take a look at a few minutes ago. We just spoke with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Watch. Well, you know her. We know her. We love her. She works hard for every single American every single day. Her latest bill, this is a phenomenal idea. Her latest bill, Making American Elections Great Again Act, will exclude illegals from the U.S. Census count. Let's bring in Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. Congresswoman, really, really amazing idea. It's almost too logical. Like, why hasn't this happened before? Tell us a little about what you want to happen specifically right away.
Well, I was talking with President Trump on the phone, and I told him that my idea is to have a bill that immediately calls for a new census in America and only counts American citizens, does not count non-citizens, illegal aliens, and everyone that's living in the United States. The second part that the bill does is it will direct the states to call for new redistricting of House seats based on the count of American citizens in the United States. So that would drastically change most House seats. And that way, each district is truly represented by a representative representing American citizens only. The third and very important piece to this bill, Eric, is my bill will make it against the law and that no non-citizen can vote in federal elections. And that's extremely important because Democrats have a goal. They have an objective to allow non-citizens to vote in all of our elections. They already do it in San Francisco. They do it in New York. And they tried to do it here in Washington, D.C., but we wouldn't let them. And so this bill is extremely important. I'm thankful to have President Trump's support, and apparently Governor DeSantis too weighed in on that bill just the other day on Real America's Voice, by the way. And so we got to get this bill passed on the House floor.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because we happen to know the guy who asked that question. You may recognize him as well a little bit. But let's take a look at how that went down. Again, we were at Alligator Alcatraz yesterday, and this gentleman named, it's a really bright guy who Trump seems to really like, Brian Glenn. He happens to be Rav's our own White House correspondent, asked the question. Listen.
How many Americans with proof of citizenship are in our area, in our country, redistricting some of the House districts? Your thoughts on that?
Well, I'll speak for both of us. We love it. You didn't like this one. I know all about it. We want to bring our elections back. The election in 2020 was rigged, millions and millions of votes. It had to do with COVID and a lot of things, but it really had to do with the crooked people. The Democrats are very good at cheating on elections. And that's why I said too big to rig. They tried this one, too. But after about 9:02, they gave up too many votes, too big to rig. Ron would love it. I would love it. Christie would love it. That's what they have to do. They have to bring it back. And we have to look, Ron, they include anybody that happens to be in your state.
Well, California would lose like 5 seats if they did a fair census. And even beyond that, the Biden census gypped Florida of at least 1 seat. We only got 1 seat in the last census. Are you trying to tell me that Florida only had 1 seat in that? We should have had at least 2. Texas should have had another one. That could be the difference in the House of Representatives and the majority. So I would love for them to redo the census for 26. My legislature will redistrict those lines. We'll get it to where it's fair. But as it's right now, this country is not fairly apportioned. I've got so many more millions of people in Florida that have representation because of that flawed census.
Mr. President, I think it's going to do very well. A lot of people, I don't know if you've heard about it, it's captivated the country. Everybody wants it. It's going to get in. It's going to pass.
What a really common sense idea. And we can go through a couple of the line items in there. For example, redrawing districts. Yeah, at least 1 more seat to Florida, at least 1 more seat to Texas. California, I think they lost those 2 seats. Probably would have lost 4 or 5. Maybe Illinois loses. New York should have lost more. I mean, it makes so much sense. I think anyone who doesn't vote for this bill is showing their hand. Their cards are, we want illegals to vote in our elections because that's the only way we can win, and that would be Democrats.
Absolutely, Eric. And the great thing is about this bill is it truly gives the American people representation. Mm-hmm. It gives the American taxpayer representation, and it puts the American people's interests first and reins in the federal government to have representatives that truly will represent American citizens. And that's where we've gotten way off track. This federal government has not worked for the American people for decades now. And we know the Democrats, they don't care about the American people. They're representing illegals and cartels and all the people that they flooded our country with illegally across the border for the past 4 years. So this is a bill I am so excited for, and I'm so grateful to have President Trump's support and his endorsement. And also Governor DeSantis, I thought, explained it really well there, how a new census will drastically change the House of Representatives and elections in 2026.
Yeah, you have such a fine line. The majority is so thin. Trump would certainly get more of his things passed, especially after midterms, assuming, you guys hold the House and the Senate. Boy, it would be a huge. But aside from representation, which is very important, policy, et cetera, resources. So federal resources are granted based on populations. And if illegals are skewing the population of California, New York, and Illinois, more of our U.S. tax dollar funded resources are going to go to states with illegals, and when it shouldn't be the case. About right?
That's right. Oh, you brought up a great point. It would reduce the American taxpayer-funded resources to states based on their population, and the population count should be for American citizens, because illegal aliens shouldn't be taking up Medicare and Medicaid and SNAP. That's the argument you've been seeing here in Congress in regards to the One Big Beautiful Bill. And illegal aliens shouldn't be taking up any resources from the American taxpayer. We're $37 trillion in debt, and Americans need a lot of help too, and our communities need tax dollars to come back for important projects back at home. And then we also, most importantly, need to get rid of that giant debt. So this is a huge win for America. This is a huge win for Americans, no matter how they vote, because I can't imagine Democrats at the end of the day, Eric, actually saying, no, illegal aliens and non-citizens should get everything before me. That's not rational, and that's not common sense. And I have a feeling we're going to see them come around to that point.
How did you? It's so rational, so common sense. What was the genesis of it? And look, Trump seems to love it. I'm guessing it's going to get voted on at some point, pass through the House. How did you come up with this idea? What was the impetus for it?
Well, it was basically watching what happened in 2020, knowing that so many of the mail-in ballots can be used for election fraud, and they do that with illegal aliens in our country. This is something that everyone knows. But more importantly, is serving in the House of Representatives, I know and I listen to my colleagues, and they're so lost on who they serve. They don't represent the American citizens in their district. Many of the Democrats are representing the illegal aliens in their district. And I think it's only fair that the House of Representatives serve the American people only. And the way that we do that is by making sure that our district lines and reapportionment is drawn and made up so that it does serve the American citizens. And that's why a census count has to be done for American citizens. And for anyone watching that doesn't know, our census has always counted every single person. It's an entire population, whether they're a citizen or a non-citizen, whether they're a cartel member, illegal, you name it, they count everyone. But that's not fair representation in Washington, D.C., and this is the way to fix it.
Right, and if it were just that they just want to make a count, and fine, that's fine. But when you're divvying resources up and divvying up representation, congressional representation, remember there's 435 Congress people, no matter what, it's just where the people are, where the folks are. Count Americans only, count citizens only. Of course, it makes so much sense, but this is the best part of this. You get it through, you get to redistrict every state you want to redistrict, and that is just so sweet.
I got one more piece of the bill that I think is incredibly important. It will require proof of citizenship to vote in all federal elections. And I don't think that's too much to ask. There's nothing wrong with requiring that for our voters. And so that is a key component of my bill.
It's huge. Those nut jobs in California can allow illegals to vote in their local elections all they want. On the federal level, you need to be an American citizen to vote. What a great idea. Marjorie Taylor Greene, always working for the folks. People, we love having you on. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Eric. Have a great day.
You have a great 4th of July weekend as well. I'm sorry, Independence Day weekend.
Yeah.
All right, folks, this month, Tax Network USA proudly celebrates our nation's birthday, honoring freedom, resilience, and financial independence. To mark the occasion, they're offering 10% off all services through July 4th. If you're dealing with back taxes or missed the April 15th deadline, don't wait. The IRS is rapidly stepping up enforcement. Penalties can add up quickly to up to 5% per month, maxing out at 25% of your total tax bill on top of your tax bill just for not filing. nothing, again, on top of what you already owe. But here's the good news. Tax Network USA can still help you turn things around, whether you're self-employed, run a business, or your books are just a complete mess. Their team knows how to cut through the chaos and find solutions that work. Your consultation, always free, and getting ahead of the problem now could help you avoid harsh penalties, wage garnishments, or surprise bank levies. That's right, they can go right into your bank account. Take the first step. Call 800-905-8000 or visit tnusa.com/RAV. Don't forget, you'll get 10% off all services through July 4th as part of their celebration of the nation's birthday. Regain control of your finances with expert help from Tax Network USA. Back in 2.5. This is great. This is great. This is something we all should want to talk about. Next guest is not only a well-known country singer, legendary singer. He penned the song most every American knows, God Bless the USA, which he's singing live on Thursday for President Trump in Des Moines, Iowa at the State Fair. I'm happy to have Lee Greenwood join us. Lee, let's start with your performance this Thursday for America's 249th at the Iowa State Fairgrounds. Tell us about this and the countdown over the next year. This is fascinating. You are going to be one popular guy over the next 366 days now.
I'm pretty excited to sing for the president, and I've done it an awful lot since 2016. It's great to be on stage with, first of all, a wonderful guy. I mean, he's very disarming. He's casual to talk to. He never sleeps. Makes you feel guilty about you sleeping, I think. When I'm on stage with him, he gives me the total respect as an artist, which I really appreciate because I don't know that I deserve that. But the fact that I'll be on stage singing just before he speaks for the world to see, I'm like walking on a cloud. It's so great.
Now let's talk about the song that you were just absolutely known for. It's an anthem. You're legendary for it. Just take us through 1983, 1984. All the things it's been through, and this just renewed every time Trump goes on stage. He plays it. Just tell us about the evolution of the song and you, really.
I want to give you the backstory. My father joined the Navy after the bombing of Pearl Harbor. And I didn't know him for 6-7 years. I finally met him, and he had 4 years in the Navy, 2 years in the Merchant Marine, and that was a little too much for my mother to handle, so she divorced him, and she couldn't handle raising me and my sister, so we were raised on a farm in Sacramento, California. That was an interesting way to be raised up, because I loved actually what we did. We didn't have nothing, but we didn't know we didn't have nothing, and I left high school, and I moved to Nevada, and I spent 20 years in the state of Nevada working in all the casinos. I even dealt cards in a casino. I was a croupier for 4 years. Moving to Nashville, Tennessee, the third page of my life, thing changed yet again. And this time I found love. I found my wife, Kim, we've been married 33 years now with 2 sons, both born in Nashville, Dalton and Parker. But the song, God Bless the USA, was formed probably when I was a kid. Probably when I was marching along with the United States Air Force Band from McClellan and Mayfair Air Force Base. I was a drum major for my high school marching band. I formed my own group and I moved to Nevada with them. I saw all the major performers in America performing when they were all revered by all Americans for their belief that patriotism was worth standing up for. I saw Elvis sing the trilogy, which included with Battle Hymn of the Republic. I would never guess that I would ever move to Nashville, Tennessee, and be living in the hub of country music in the heart of the South and have two sons that were born in Nashville, Tennessee. So all of those things add up to the fact that when I got to Nashville, I was touring like a crazy man, 300 days a year, and I got to see all of America, from New York to Miami, from San Diego to the New York City to Virginia to Texas, Connecticut, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and finally settled in Tennessee when I started performing for the USO with the National Guard. It brought me back to a memory of years ago when I performed for the USO as a teenager in California. And I said, you know what? Maybe it's time for me to write a song about America. And I just sat down one year on my bus while I was touring crazy, and I wrote it in the back of the bus. It became a good anthem only because Irving Azoff from Universal Records made the call to release it as a single. Otherwise, it would never have gotten heard by radio. It was on an album, our 4th album, called You've Got a Good Love Coming. It would never guessed to be a single record. Took a while to get legs, but when it did, it was like an interesting ride, because then things happened just interestingly enough to make the song come back to prominence and America's consciousness, which of course is no greater than the Gulf War, the attack on America, and then the presidency of Donald Trump. I just like, here we are.
Those are 3 events that gave new life into a song that's wildly patriotic. And as we approach the 250th anniversary next year, or birthday, it's going to get even more prominent. Let's take a listen. We have a little soundbite, I believe, with you, in the band Home Free and United States Air Force Band. Can we roll that, Mad Dog?
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I'd gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt of this land. God bless the USA. There ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the
Fantastic rendition, Lee. It brings tears in my eyes every time I hear it, especially with those folks right there. Tell us a little about how that went down.
Gosh, that was so much fun. Of course, they're a great performing act. They're a cappella, so there's no drums. I actually had a person in the audience one time, and I walked up to the stage, and she kept trying to get my attention. Hey. So I stopped the music, and I said, what is it? And she said, does the drummer have to play in every song? Well, actually, and that may be a joke, but to tell you the truth, I actually love the sound of the music without so much percussion. Having said that, we released a new version of God Bless USA. It's a rock version. I don't know if you've heard it or not, Eric, but it was went #1 on the rock charts, thanks to a friend of mine from Detroit. So we're all, we have several versions of God Bless USA.
That friend from Detroit wasn't Kid Rock or Ted Nugent, was it by chance? Because
Kid Rock is from Detroit as well.
Yeah.
I got a lot of friends from up there.
Yeah, I would love to hear I want to hear the rock version. I'm an old school classic rock guy and some
have your producer bring that up. It's pretty cool, actually. My kid's 30 and 26. But Dad, that's really cool. Haven't you heard this like your whole life?
I'm sure I can't wait to listen to it. We'll listen to it. We'll try and get into the show a little bit later towards the end of the show. Maybe we'll end the show with a little bit. With your permission. With your permission. I think we need to get permission for those things before we do them. Lee, you also, I got the other day, I got sent to my house 2 beautiful things. 2 packages, 2 beautiful. They're both Bibles. Very patriotic. Tell us about both of these Bibles. They're wonderful.
I'm really excited about this one. This is a brand new version of the King James Holy Bible, which is the Gospel of Jesus Christ. And it's the Patriot edition. And it says right on the front of it, we are one people united by a common destiny and a shared purpose to love one another and love the United States of America. There are only 1,000 of these. And if you don't get it today or tomorrow, they'll be gone. GodBlessUSA.com is where you'll find one. Or go to my website, LeeGreenwood.com. We'll send a tab so you can find this Bible. It is the King James Holy Bible with the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, Bill of Rights, and the Pledge of Allegiance, and a handwritten version of my chorus of God Bless the USA. Proud to be an American.
Very, very awesome. I've got some of the other ones, and there was a Trump Bible, and there was also a Melania Bible as well, wasn't there?
And a camouflage version. If you know a veteran, you want to pick up one of those, go to the website, GodBlessUSABible.com, and get one of those. I'm so excited about this new version. As you know, I'll be in Iowa tomorrow with the president. Yeah. And I will sing the original version that as my track that I recorded, the same one I sang at the RNC.
Yeah, Lee, are you still touring? Are you touring aside from doing the things with the 250?
Absolutely.
Tell us very quickly about that. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do about 100 days this year. Wow. My agency, AEC in Nashville, give them a little plug, have done really good for me to do that. And my wife and I will tour together a lot while we're on the road, and our boys are now out of college. So that gives me a little bit of reason to get back on the road.
Love it, Lee. Really, really, one of the most patriotic people I know. President Trump loves you. We love you. Lee Greenwood, everybody. Appreciate your time, my friend, and happy 4th of July.
Awesome. Happy Independence Day.
All right. Independence Day. That's the way to say it. I said it wrong. I stand corrected. Happy Independence Day. United States, American Independence Day. Damn it.
Exactly.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
All right, my friend.
our next guest is in Rio de Janeiro right now to report on the Rio Reset. Well, welcome, Birch Gold Group precious metals specialist Philip Patrick. Really good to have you back, my friend. Well, you're there. You're at the scene, the Rio Reset happening in just a few days. Tell us, what are you doing there? What are you seeing? What are you hearing? And how serious are these folks really looking to undermine the U.S. dollar?
Look, we're here. We wanted boots on the ground. We wanted to be sort of see what was happening, essentially be part of history. These guys are moving ahead, right? They're talking directly. Brazil's finance minister came out publicly and said, look, the dollar's going to be a problem for nations on an international stage. So they're coming out publicly. The messaging for us was interesting. Would they sweep it under the carpet and have a soft launch, if you will, or will they come out publicly and declare their intentions? And they're doing that. So it is happening. The dollar, as I've said many times, is still king, but they're pushing to reduce dollar hegemony on a global scale, and they are firm in their intent.
How are they doing it, Philip? Is it as we suspected, this group, and then there are other countries that are jumping on board, getting in? Is it just this distrust of America and our way of, and what's their alternative? Is it going to be some sort of global currency? Is it going to be yuan for China? Who would replace the U.S. dollar?
It's a great question. Look, first of all, I don't think they're looking now to try and replace the U.S. dollar because, as you say, as tough as things are domestically, the dollar is king when it comes to currencies. What they're doing, and they are doing it. So they're not looking to create a new currency. We've got a lot of those. What they're looking to create is a new financial system, right? The financial system in place is Western dominated, right? Credit rating agencies, the World Bank, we control that. They've created their own. They have the New Development Bank. By the way, that's already issued billions of dollars in loans denominated in local currencies. They have Enbridge to make cross-border payments using local currencies. So the big plan here, I think, is not to move to a new currency, is to use multiple currencies and therefore reduce the dollar's share of global transactions, and in doing so, reduce the dollar's potency and the potency of our most powerful non-kinetic weapon in the form of sanctions. And it's starting to happen, right? A couple of years ago, 85% of all transactions in the world were undertaken in US dollars. Today, that percentage is going down and down and down. China themselves signing huge bilateral trade agreements with dozens of nations using local currency. So I think it's about attacking the dollar's share of global transactions. And the more that happens, we'll move into a multipolar world. And if ultimately a challenger emerges, that's when we may lose global reserve currency status.
I will tell you what's going on as well, Philip. You can confirm this, that this is the worst start to the U.S. dollar for the first half year in maybe ever in many decades. And what that means is as the U.S. dollar weakens, other things are going to have to take the place of it. And gold has been the biggest recipient of the weakness in the dollar recently, and it's going to continue. And it has nothing to do with Rio. Rio isn't even involved yet, and we have a weakening dollar, which is a bid underneath the gold price. And I'll just point out that today gold was up almost $19 an ounce, almost $3,400 still. Wow, what a resilient asset to have.
You are absolutely correct. First of all, dollar down 10.8% in the first half of 2025. That's the worst start of the year since 1973, and that was when Nixon took us off the gold standard. So you're absolutely correct. It's not the Rio Reset wasn't the catalyst for this. As you said, it's the other way around. It started with Biden in 2022 when he weaponized the dollar, using our financial system to seize Russia's assets. That's when central bank gold buying started to escalate. But the BRICS understand timing as well. Now they're looking at big, beautiful bill. They're looking at dollar decline, and they see this as their moment to strike. So you are absolutely correct on that.
Got to stay with it. Birch Gold Group, one of the best, probably the best on the street, and I've used a lot of them. You guys are great. Philip Patrick, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, folks, want to send a liberal into an absolute tailspin? Say these two words, alligator Alcatraz, and watch them seethe and absolutely lose their minds.
Donald Trump seems to really like his new detention center in Florida, dubbed without shame, Alligator Alcatraz. Republicans are so into it. In fact, they've made swag, shirts, T-shirts, hats, water bottles. The makeshift facility is being heavily criticized for being inhumane and cruel. Bunk beds packed into tents, on an old airfield in the middle of the Everglades under the baking Florida sun.
It's not that bad at all. I was there yesterday. It's too good, folks. Too good. You saw it right here yesterday. I saw it in the flesh, as you can see right there. Alligators, pythons, crocs behind me. Oh, my. And that's where we are, and that's what we voted for. It's certainly what I voted for. Now a whole new way of securing the border comes to fruition, and nothing screams Florida more than using alligators to stop an invasion.
We had a request from the federal government to do it, and so alligator Alcatraz it is. And so you will see that be done. You will have, it'll be a force multiplier. It'll help DHS. It'll help our state and local law enforcement with relieving some burden on resources.
Simply can't have illegals filling up the jail. So alligator Alcatraz it is. Hey, whatever it takes to undo years of Biden's catastrophe. The damage done by years of open borders can only be undone with drastic measures. I don't know if it's drastic or not. It's called alligator Alcatraz. It's in the Florida Everglades. It was amazing there. Lots of bugs, lots of spiders, lots of snakes. That's what we voted for, though, folks, on steroids. It's a new facility in Florida to detain illegals surrounded by a swamp filled with alligators, crocodiles, and, yes, pythons. Keep them out. Keep them out. And Florida libs, well, we saw a lot of them yesterday. They really, really don't like it. By the way, they all looked kind of the same. Look at them, keeping out of their road for their protests since the Florida governor, Ron DeSantis, told residents feel free to take matters into your own hands.
And we also have a policy that if you're driving on one of those streets and a mob comes and surrounds your vehicle and threatens you, you have a right to flee for your safety. And so if you drive off and you hit one of these people, that's their fault for impinging on you.
Any questions? They really were orderly. They stayed on the side of the road. If you want to see a liberal absolutely lose their mind, just say these two little words again. Alligator Alcatraz. Watch their heads explode.
I need somebody to tell me that I'd not just walk upstairs and see a clip on the news talking about alligator Alcatraz, a prison camp that they're building in the Everglades in Florida to throw immigrants into. If that wasn't already horrifying enough to throw human beings into containers, Florida had to Florida and be like, you know what, I'll do you one better. Not only are we going to make this disgusting fucking prison camp, but we're going to put it right in the Everglades next to all the fucking gators and joyfully refer to it as alligator Alcatraz.
Yes, lady who's one step away from purple hair, we did that. I say joyfully, alligator Alcatraz, alligators. Get over it. Get on board or else there's the door. You know where it is. So, hey, you want to complain to somebody? There's a hotline number for you to try out. It's called 1-800-BORDER-CZAR. Cami.
At the same time, I want to be clear to folks in this region who are thinking about making that dangerous trek to the United States-Mexico border. Do not come. Do not come.
Oh, yes, that worked out so well for her. Oh, well, here's another hotline. If that's not working, try 1-800-Mayorkas sucks.
It is my testimony that the border is secure, and we are working every day, day and night, to increase its security.
Prosecute that guy. And if that's not working, here's one more hotline. You can try 1-800. This is all Joe Biden's fault.
I would, in fact, make sure that we immediately surge to the border. All those people are seeking asylum. They deserve to be heard. That's who we are. We're a nation that says if you want to flee and you're fleeing oppression, you should come.
Wait, but I thought Kamala said do not come. You see, these people are useless. But this is the thing. Actions have consequences. Leave a welcome mat for gang members and drug traffickers. You need drastic measures to undo it. And sometimes those measures are what you've got lying around. And sometimes that means alligators because, I don't know, it's Florida and they're everywhere. Actions have consequences and inaction has consequences too. Let them in, let them stay for years and by the millions. I don't know what's going on, but we still somehow have a widespread illness in America of caring more about these illegal invaders than we do about our own citizens. It took far too long to stop 1.4 million illegals from receiving Medicaid. But it may finally be about to happen in the passing of the bill, this new bill, despite Democrats' protests. Americans have to work for our own medical coverage and for the medical coverage of illegals too? Does that make any sense to anyone? No, it doesn't. Allowing illegals to have their way with what we've been paying for. They didn't always feel that way, you know?
Over where we go, people say, well, why can't you stop illegal immigrants or others from coming here? And the number one answer we give our constituents is when they come here, they can get jobs, get benefits against the law because of fraud. And here, the gentleman from Florida has put together the most effective anti-fraud measure we can
That's
find.
right. These people once cared about illegals coming to America and defrauding the system, taking benefits away from Americans. And what's this? Young detainees of the new Alligator Alcatraz facility? Nope. It's a photo of young detainees at a CBP holding court during the Obama era, stepping out of their cages to make phone calls. Obama deported millions because even he knew that it was right for America. But they stopped caring about that fraud as soon as they realized they've got future voters to take care of. So the answer is, I'll say it again, alligators, that's it, proverbial and real. Alligator Alcatraz, to keep these invaders from destroying our country and sucking us dry, just so Eric Swalwell can keep getting voters to keep him in Congress, so he can keep his stream of Chinese spies going for as long as possible. Enough is enough. Alligator Alcatraz. And yes, this is exactly what I voted for. Back in 2.5. Donald Trump continues to expand his business empire even while running the United States of America. The president just released a line of fragrances, and his advertisement was enough to send the radical Democrats into a total tailspin. Listen to this.
My new Trump fragrances are here. They make a great Christmas present. I've named them Fight, Fight, Fight because they represent winning. We all want to be winning. We have to win as a nation. We want to win as a family. This fragrance is all about strength and success and confidence for men and for women. Get yourself a bottle and don't forget to grab one for your loved ones too. They'll thank you, and they'll even smell good. Enjoy, have fun, keep on winning, and Merry Christmas.
I honestly think sometimes he does some of these things just to mess with them. Fight fragrance. Okay. All righty. Senator Chris Murphy. Oh, this guy, Chris Murphy. What is this a constituent call him on our voicemail? Stupid Senator Chris Murphy wants more of his Democratic colleagues to look at Zohran Mamdani's campaign to become New York's next mayor. Murphy thinks the Dems would win more elections if they campaigned like New York's proudest socialist. Listen to what Murphy had to say.
There are certain things that he stands for and says that I don't agree with, but I think you have to pay attention to the fact that you had a candidate in New York City that was talking every single day about the cost of living, and he was proposing really big, sometimes radical ideas to take power from folks who have way too much of it, like the big realty companies that are jacking up rents in New York City and transferring it to regular people. He did have a laser-like focus on cost of living, on shifting power to people who don't have enough of it. And I think if the Democratic Party writ large spent as much time or as big a percentage of our communications time talking about the cost of living as Mamdani did in New York, we'd probably win a lot more elections.
Oh, isn't that cute? Chris Murphy's trying to become the next socialist in Congress. Oh, yeah, he's trying to be just like Mamdani. Good job, Murphy, moron. We told you about this story. Jaguar decided to take the Bud Light route for their PR and marketing. Remember this one? These major companies will never learn. Wokeness is a turnoff for consumers now. Go woke, go broke. It even rhymes. How much clearer can this message be? Unsurprisingly, Jaguar, get this, sold just 49 cars in all of April throughout all of Europe. Their sales have dropped through the floor since they released this wonderful advertisement. Watch. Who in the heck thought that would be a good way to sell Jaguars anywhere? 49 cars, all of Europe in April. Democrats love to enable laziness and entitlements, what they're all about, which is why their next scheme, a nationwide sick day, actually 3 days, comes as no surprise to us. That's right, folks. The Democrats are actually wasting their time organizing a nationwide sick out, where people all over the country apparently plan to stop working, spending, and producing. Listen to this insanity.
What if millions of us stopped working, stopped spending, and stopped producing all at the same time? There's a movement brewing. It's called the People's Sick Day, and what it is a 3-day economic blackout. That means no work, no shopping, no production, just pause. 3 days where we remind the system that without us, nothing moves. But here's the twist. We're not giving out the dates until 48 hours before because we don't want to give the corporations time to plan and stop us from having this happen.
It's all the progressive liberals who actually were out at Alligator Alcatraz yesterday. They don't work anyway, so we probably won't miss you. Gavin Newsom just provided us with a Kamala-esque word salad. Now, Newsom may be arrogant, entitled, woke, insane. The list goes on. But usually he's very, articulate, I would say. We'll give him that. So I'm not entirely sure what went on in his brain during this clip, but watch.
Consequence of all of that, we have too much demand chasing too little supply. It's not complicated. This is Econ 101, supply-demand imbalance. I've said it before. I'll repeat it. This issue of housing explains more things in more ways on more days than any other issue to explain the challenges and the plight of so many Californians. So many of the challenges that ail us can be connected back to this issue. Unless we address this issue head on, we'll continue to be vexed by so many of these challenges as it relates to the challenges of the middle class and working folks, the issues of what's happening on our streets, in sidewalks. All of these things are foundationally and fundamentally
Just come out and say it, Gavin. Just come out and say it. You want to be like the New York mayor, hopeful Mamdani. Give it away. Give it away for free. That's what all you liberals want to do. Give it away. See if you can buy some votes. That's what it's all about. No taxes on tips seems pretty easy to get behind. How did this ever become a political issue? Donald Trump's no taxes on tips promise was designed to help out American workers, not just Republicans or Democrats, American workers. Realistically, any American should be able to support this, or should, regardless of how they feel about Trump. Enter Jamie Raskin, who was asked about leaving people's tips alone on CNN, but couldn't say if he supported the idea or not. Listen.
No taxes on tips, which is part of this bill, for working people who work on a tipped wage. Do you support that?
You know, I haven't looked seriously at it because I haven't thought they were serious about it.
So here's the thing. Remember, Trump came out with no tax on tips. He tells a story. He was in a restaurant in Las Vegas, and a worker came up to him and said, "How about no tax on our tips?" He said, "Fantastic idea." He put it out as a policy during the election. You remember what happened next? Kamala Harris stole the idea. Do you remember she tried to steal the idea about 2 weeks after he announced it a couple of times? And now Democrats are saying it's a bet. I mean, these people, this is why you should hate every single politician in D.C. Joy Reid is apparently not so thrilled about Trump's new alligator Alcatraz in the Everglades. Listen to her take on the new migrant detention facility.
To forget about him, but Ron DeSantis is still governor of Florida. He took the Comfy Couch hosts on a tour of the concentration camp that he's building in Florida in order to round up brown people, and throw them in a camp because he doesn't want them in Florida. Surprise, surprise, the economy of Florida is going to be severely harmed by rounding up brown people who, by the way, all over this country, Latinos are afraid to go to work. Anybody who is perceived or looks Latino is afraid to go to work. I know people.
I'll tell you what, it's not dangerous if you don't leave the compound. I was there yesterday. Clean, brand new beds. Everything's brand spanking new. Brand new, clean, safe. Just don't walk away or you get eaten by an alligator. So relax, Joy Reid. Just chill the heck out, please. All right, we'll be back in 2.5 minutes. How about some voicemails, huh? Give me some more voicemails. I'm going to read some of them. You're going to love them. You guys are on fire. We love this segment. That's coming up next. right, just love your voicemails. I mean, that's why we do it every day. You tell us everything that's on your mind, and I try and get as many up as I can. And Ben, I spent most of the morning listening probably to 150, 200 voicemails. I listened to all of them. I sent a few over. Again, just have to be brief. I sent some over. I'm not sure what order they're going to come out in, so we'll get to as many as you can. And Ben's going to tell us what the first one is, Ben.
Yes, sir. We got some funny remarks about alligator Alcatraz.
Oh, yes. Let's do it.
Eric, I need your help a little bit. I was watching the alligator Alcatraz yesterday with Trump, and before that they had all these protesters protesting, and I was confused. Are they protesting that they don't want the alligators to eat the aliens and get a stomach ache, or were they protesting don't feed the animals? I wasn't sure, but that's the only thing it can be, one or the other, because that's what's going to happen. I'd like to have your comment on it.
Very good. Well done, sir. I think they were protesting, probably the stomach aches that the gators could get if those illegals step off base for 1 second. Ben, what's next?
We got someone wondering what would happen if Dems win.
Hey, Eric, don't think the commies, if they ever get the power back of the House and the presidency, that they won't try to put Trump and his family in that alligator Alcatraz. That's one thing to think about. I hope Trump protects himself and puts a pardon on himself and all the family and maybe other people that are working with him. That'll be something if they do that.
This is a really good idea. Not that no one's going to put Trump in jail, but once he's not president anymore and he can't be president again, they won't have any use for him. This was all about making sure he wasn't president this time. Didn't work for him. However, it's a good idea that you bring up. If Joe Biden basically pardoned his whole family and, thousands of others, Trump should do the same thing. Pardon himself and the whole family. Why not? They led the way. Give them a taste of their own medicine. Ben. Next.
Yes, sir. So the note that Mad Dog left for me is someone from South Carolina, Trump lying about groceries.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just watching Donald J. Trump on news on your channel. Tell him he's lying about the groceries. I live in South Carolina, and the price of eggs is the only damn thing that went down. Everything else is still so damn high you can't afford it. So tell him the damn price of groceries ain't doggone down. We're all paying out that for groceries.
All right, sir. Mr. South Carolina, I put this in here for a reason. Look, Trump's been back in office for 5 months, right? It's 4 years of Bidenomics drove prices up. And yes, it takes time to come down. When he got into office, the liberals were saying, oh, you're going to bring prices down. It takes time. Inflation is coming down. And as I've been pointing out here, oil prices come down, gas prices come down, but slower. Sometimes they don't even come down. And that's on the individual stores. It's not on the government. You can't blame Trump for prices not coming down in an individual grocery store. Prices are coming down on the wholesale level. Commodity prices are coming down. Oil prices are coming down. Food prices are coming down. If the individual stores choose to keep their prices high, it's on them. You got to walk in and say, look, I know eggs are cheaper. I know tomatoes are cheaper. I know oranges are cheaper. I know beef and cattle and those prices are coming down too. You need to lower your prices, and they will. And they will. Call them out or say, I'm going to go somewhere else. And they will. It's just you got to guilt them. There are laws in place to do it, and I'm just suggesting you can call Congress people. That could take a long time, or you just go in yourself. Have your neighbors go in and say, this grocery store is overcharging. Look how much cheaper it is over there. Give them competition. They'll bring it down. Benny, next.
We have Tim from Idaho. He has an energy question for the president.
Hi, Eric. It's Tim from Idaho. Congratulations on asking that key energy question to President Trump. Excellent way to get the point directly to the president. Have a great day. God bless.
Yeah, so, again, I want to put that in here because we got that. I remember talking to you guys for a long time, and at the top of the show I kind of mentioned it, but we did get the president, the question I've been talking to you about for a long time. Mr. President, with the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, 750 million barrels. Biden brought it down to about 300 million barrels just to defray the cost, the price of oil, which is not what it's supposed to be for. It's supposed to be for an emergency use, emergency global disruption in oil. He put us vulnerable. I said to Mr. President yesterday, are you going to fill it up at these lower prices? And he said, yes, we're going to. And then I went one step further and said, I recommend bringing it to 1 billion barrels, 750 million, bring it all the way to 1 billion on a lower price. You've cleaned up another one of Biden's messes at a much lower price than Biden ever could have done. One more. We have time for one quick one?
Yes, sir. We have some more remarks about alligator Alcatraz.
Go.
Hey, I seen you on TV today. I don't know if you were at Alligator Alcatraz. I just love it. I know Trump came up with that name. I just know he did. That's Trump.
There we go. I think it was a local Florida lawmaker who came up with it. Trump loved it and jumped on it right away. I'd say we had a great time at Alligator Alcatraz yesterday. We'll stay in touch with Trump about that oil idea. Really good day. Keep those voicemails coming in because it's important, because we want to hear what you think, what's turning you on, what's ticking you off, and we will continue to be the voice to you, to the folks who are listening. And by the way, a lot of people in the administration are listening to you right now. Speaking of a lot of people listening, the man who gets millions of listeners on a daily basis, Steve Bannon and the War Room coming up next. I will see you again. I think there's a rally tomorrow. I'll see you again on Friday, 4th of July. Bannon, War Room.
One of the reasons, other than my support for President Trump, that I came out from behind my desk, and I had a pretty good life, and I wanted to come out and really tell people that I was worried about an impending financial calamity, given the high levels of government spending that were leading to high levels of government debt. So what we are doing, on one side, the president is reordering trade. On the other side, we are shedding excess labor in the federal government and bringing down federal borrowings. And then on the other side, that will give us the labor that we need for the new manufacturing, and we're going to re-lever the private sector. So the private sector, in essence, has been in recession during the Biden years. And this is an opportunity to right-size the federal government and unleash the private sector again, because it's been hemmed down by excessive regulation and it's been crowded out by the government.
We are under your direction. We're reprivatizing the economy. We're bringing down government spending. We're bringing down excess employment in the government sector. On the other side, we're going to re-leverage the banking system. We're going to have all the new manufacturing jobs, so everyone who's laid off from the government will have an opportunity to go into the private sector, and that is going to lead to disinflation. Inflation is under control. We're going to get the affordability crisis fixed. So lower energy, deregulation, more private sector jobs that will naturally get interest rates down. Interest rates down. Mortgage rates are down almost every week since January 20th. The energy costs are down about 15%. Crude oil's down about 15%. And as we keep that going, interest rates are going to keep declining. It'll be good for mortgages. It'll be good for credit card debt. It'll be great for auto loans.
This is the primal scream of a dying regime. Pray for our enemies, because we're going medieval on these people. You're not got a free shot on all these networks lying about the people. The people have had a belly full of it. I know you don't like hearing that. I know you try to do everything in the world to stop that, but you're not going to stop it. It's going to happen.
And where do people like that go to share the big lie? MAGA media. I wish in my soul, I wish that any of these people had a conscience.
Ask yourself, what is my task and what is my purpose? If that answer is to save my country, this country will be saved.
War Room. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
It's Wednesday, 2 July in the year of our Lord 2025. There's a very dramatic activity on the floor of the House as the big, beautiful bill. Actually, they try to pass an amendment to a rule and then pass the rule, so they actually vote on the bill and debate it tonight. And I imagine they're going to try to go through the night. Officials from the White House have just gone and briefed certain members of the House Freedom Caucus. Ross Vote's been down there. I think he's back now at OMB. We're honored to have the Secretary of Treasury, Scott Bessent, with us. Mr. Secretary, I think it was about a year ago, April, May of 2024, you made the statement here on the show that, hey, I think this is the last chance will ever have, the country will ever have, to have a supply side solution to the economic and financial problems of the country.